ThatKoboldGaming's MK11 school. Again. But today, we're going to be taking a look at probably one of my favorite characters, at least for farming, Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage is, again, still a very good character. But some interesting history. When the game first came out, he was considered pretty terrible. However, some buffs later, and a meta shift, and he's actually pretty freaking good. Especially after he got Outtake. That got nerfed. He's still pretty good, decent. And nowadays, if you ask any Johnny Cage main what his best build is, they'll usually respond with Showstopper. Or more specifically, any variation that contains the camera. Any variation that can just say no to breakaway will automatically be good. So let's go over the basics. Down 1, down 2, down 3, down 4. Jump-ins, and the short hops. Okay, so down 1, 7 frames, plus 11 on block, plus 11 on hit. Hang on. There we go. So, it's plus 11, however, it is also minus 5 on block, so that's completely safe. Low jab is honestly a very good way to go into your frames. Then we have the down 2. Unframes has some. It's pretty serviceable. I mean, it's not like Jade's where I can just stand right here and just uppercut you all day. It also hits pretty high above him. I don't believe it hits behind him, but it's still pretty serviceable. And as you all know from the first episode, this thing will crushing blow if you manage to duck a high attack. A good optimization would be 3-4 into the shadow kick. Or flippy kick, I guess, if you think they're gonna break away. Even though that armor break is utter dog shit. Right, we don't have pissed off in this build. Honestly, I guess you could do a lot. Flippy kick would probably be better because I guess it leaves him a bit closer than shadow kick would. But that's just me. Also, turn off break. Next we have low boot. A 9-frame poke, pretty good range, and it's only minus 5. He also has his down 4. Good, really 8 frames and good for checking the opponent, and has just a bit more range. What's it on block? Also minus 5. So Johnny Cage's pokes are pretty good. Okay, now for the jump-ins. Jump in 1. and jumping 2. Honestly, I'd prefer the standing 1 for an anti-air, but both can hit a grounded opponent pretty easily. Like so. And kicks is pretty good. It's a little bit floaty though. And has pretty good advantage if not flawless blocked. We have the short hop punch and the short hop kick. Short hop kick is probably what you're going to want to do most of the time, just because it has a lot better range, even if it is punishable. Both are punishable, so I just 100% of the time. Now how about the throws? Now toward throw is pretty good for zoning. Probably best used in the corner. So let's get him in the corner. You're plus 17 in the corner. They gotta deal with what comes next, unless they have the meter for an up 3. Back throw is also kind of in a similar boat. Puts them pretty far away. This is, and no, unlike Garrett's, this is most characters. Most characters allow you to have some breathing room. Now for his get-up attacks. I'm going to tell Sub-Zero to sweep me. Up 2. And your invincible wake-up attack. Neglected to do that with Gears, but Gears's are also very good. Gears is up 3 hits on both sides of them. And up 2 is... it pretty much has the exact same, almost kind of the same reach as Johnny. Now let's move on to these attack strengths. It's always important to remember... Jumping 2 is probably going to be what you want since it's a lot safer. But yeah. So we have neutral, which makes it really good for staggers, since the first hit, I believe, starts up in 7 frames. It's pretty good. So unless they have a 6 frame down one, if you're fast enough, you're probably going to be landing it every single time. Plus 1. Yeah, Johnny used to be a lot better with his plus frames. When he first came out and before he was nerfed recently, actually that was some time ago, he got nerfed to the point where his where these enders went from plus 6 to just plus 1, significantly cutting down his pressure. This one's safe, but only minus if you finish it. Although 4-3-4-4 exists, so I really don't see any reason to use this unless you're going for the brutality. The gist of my fist: more safe if you finish it. We have a low that's minus, and again, that used to be plus 6. Same situation as comedy and tragedy, only this time it's actually a lot better. Just be warned though, they're both high attacks, so if the opponent expects you to do it, they can just uppercut you. Alright, so we have minus 7, and this string is actually what you want to do most of the time to end your combos. Just like that. And next we have Fix It in Post. I already told you about that. Good for also keeping yourself safe. Although I don't really see why you would want to do that to end your combos. Post credits, in my opinion, is good for extending combo, for ending your combos. Well, Fix It in Post is better for keeping you safe in the neutral. And next we have bad scripts. Now this one's really hard to do. And again, this string exists, so I don't see why you would ever use bad scripts unless you're going for this brutality right here. And once again, it's minus if you finish it. It does push him back a little bit, but characters like Sub-Zero can just easily slide punish you. And a lot of players can. Regardless, you're eating a full combo. The gist of my fist. I was always for certain that hit mid. Maybe I was delirious. But in my opinion, it's a good string to check out in the neutral. It has some good reach. And the follow-ups are mid, and it's completely safe. I see that more as a neutral string rather than a combo string. And next we have Sellout. We have a sneaky low. However, the game's been out for quite some time. People know about this mix-up. So you could just not finish it. It is only -1. And then we have Cage Match. Also +1. But with Fix It in Post and Cage Match, just be warned that the enders are high attacks. So the opponent, especially to go for plus frames, just be warned that they can duck it and punish you for it. Or get an uppercut. And now we have kind of a big deal. This is probably the string you're going to want to use most of the time. Like, it's just really good. It has good reach. Like, look at this. Almost pretty much started the round. And now we have, and same deal. Ender is completely punishable on block. You don't finish it, it's -2. So again, it's good to throw out neutral, just be warned, the first head is a high attack again. I'm basically just running in circles at this point. And then we have Making Headlines. Probably one of Johnny Cage's best strings. They're both lows. I really don't see any reason to do the follow-ups. I mean, it does look pretty freaking awesome. Plus, that's a really tricky input. And it's pretty much about the same damage as a amplified flippy kick. So yeah, this is probably the string I recommend throwing out in neutral. Especially since it's still completely safe. Just be warned, Nut Punch is also very unsafe. So wait to see if it lands before putting in the input for Nut Punch. Then we have Tearjerker. Now the string is +7, but Here's the problem with it. Okay, I'm going to take control of Sub-Zero, and I'm going to tell Johnny to do this string. And with some female hitboxes, he travels straight over them. I don't know if he still does. The string will crushing blow if only the final hit connects, but everyone knows about it at this point. So the chances of you actually landing that are pretty slim if not impossible. But yeah. And last but not least, I'm still in control of Sub-Zero. And last but not least, we have Wingman. So Johnny Cage does have an advancing mid. And if thrown out, it's only -5, so pretty freaking safe. Now let's move on to his special moves. I'm going to start with the ones he gets by default. Then move on to his specific variation moves. So first we have straight force ball. 14 frame projectile, hits high, and pretty plus. They like to block that. Do amplified force balls, you're +1. Something that was also nerfed when its plus frames went down. Next we have Nut Punch. And it's not hard to understand. This is Johnny Cage's combo extender. Now, the crushing blow is a bit more, I guess, easy. So Sub-Zero pretty much has to do something really unsafe, like this string. And if I land it as the punish, I get a crushing blow. But I don't see that landing very often. It has to be like... It pretty much has to be a move that's -14 or less. Sorry, -14 or higher. And next we have Flippy Kick. I'm not gonna lie, this move is utter garbage. Like, it does about as much damage as I guess it does about more damage than a Shadow Kick. But other than that, it's pretty much awful. It's not worth the bar. And worst of all, this is Johnny Cage's armor breaker. So I'm going to tell Sub-Zero to break away late. You know, I'm just going to turn on easy crushing blows. You really do not get anything for it. It's 190. By default, you're only getting 51 damage. And if I amplify, I'm only getting 40%. And how much does another uppercut do? Just as much, without having to spend any bar. Not to mention this, sometimes this move can literally just straight up miss. And worst of all, if he breaks away during the second hit, I am pretty much screwed, because on block, -20. And even worse on whiff. And if he breaks away during the second hit, I am pretty much fucked. But rant aside, next up we have Shadow Kick. Good way to close the distance, even though it is a high attack and very unsafe. This is also your go-to way to end combos. Oops. Turn that off. And just for a moment, I want to talk about his fatal blow. You can hold it, or you can even cancel it. This will be important later because one of the moves he has a crushing blow that's tied to it. So now, let's get into the variation moves. To get these moves, you have to equip specific moves. So we're going to start with the first tournament variation. We're going to go over all the variation moves, and then I'm going to go over the customs that you can now have access to thanks to custom variations. So first we have Mime Time. So I'm going to tell Sub-Zero to wait. And then do his overhead. See, this move will only crushing blows if you land 2 extended mime times, or if it's the first hit of the round. I hope you like having that crushing blow requirement first hit of the round, because you're going to be seeing this one a lot. We have mime time, we have the nut punch, we have the sunglasses toss. Like, he has a lot of that. And of course, if he amplifies it when you hit him, he gets a full combo. Or at least a whatever combo. And then we have Brass Knuckles. Not bad chip damage, right? However, if I do Brass Knuckles, the amount of chip damage I do on you increases. So that's actually doing pretty good block damage now. And next we have Caged Rage. See, this move is very unique in the fact that it changes depending on how many times your opponent blocks it. It's a high by default, which means it can be blocked, but if they block it, then it becomes a mid. And lastly, it hits unblockable. And anytime you land it, you can hit it anytime, but I honestly wouldn't recommend the meter. It's not worth it. Now let's move on to variation 2. If you ask any Johnny Cage main what the best build is, they're probably going to say this one. In this one, we have a replacer of the Nut Punch, and we have his Throwing Shades. So not very impressive by default, but if I meter burn it, I get a full combo. I know the damage seems lesser than, but keep in mind, he keeps you grounded the entire time. meaning that 25% is guaranteed and you cannot break away. Which is what makes this variation so powerful. However, I hope you like that crushing blow requirement, because it is never going to hit unless you get the first hit. In which case, I really wouldn't recommend it because it is super minus up close even if you meter burn it. It's less minus, but still punishable. Otherwise, to get it, you have to whiff this thing 3 times in a row. 3 more times. And then when I amplify it, yeah, pretty bad. And then we have throwing shades. If you ask me, the projectile on this thing is just hilariously bad. This thing does have a crushing blow and is probably one of the easier ones to land. So if you don't get it on the first hit of the round, the only way to get it is to do it on a combo that involves a fatal blow dash cancel, which I'm not very good at. If you couldn't already tell. But even if I can't do it, all it does is just give you a bit of extra damage on your grounded combo. Even the requirements for this one are pretty severe. Like, I have to have Fatal Blow available if I don't land it at the first hit, because I need to cancel my Fatal Blow, which I only get when I'm below 30% health. Like, it's pretty crazy that I have to give up so much just for one crushing blow. And then we have Outtake. When Variation 3s first came out, this was probably the best build ever for Johnny Cage. These projectiles used to be 9 frames. And while it may say plus 18 up close, they're plus at long range. Meaning I could just... And look at how fast I can machine gun these out. Imagine that, but 2 frames faster, and you pretty much have old Johnny Cage. And then we have High Force Ball. When the Variation 3 first came out, like, this zoning was just ridiculous. And in the corner, you can actually use the Force Ball's Amplify to combo. I don't know if it works for mid-screen, though. You have to do a lot of dashing with Johnny Cage. And I'm not very good at comboing with them. But people long range. And if I hold back, it becomes a low force. The second one becomes a low force ball. Same thing with low. If I hold back on the if I hold forward on the amplify, it becomes a high. So it's good if the opponent thinks you're going to do a low force ball or double, and they're just going to try and duck it. You can use the extra one to catch them out. And then we have the Rising Star. This move used to be really good, because this thing used to reset the neutral. I guess it still keeps you safe, but now you have to actually spend both an offensive and defensive bar to do so. Originally, it only cost you one offensive bar, which is what made that move just really good. But since the nerf, it's still decent. And now on to the custom moves. So first up we have the stunt double. This one replaces your shadow kick, unfortunately. But it does send someone across the screen to hit your opponent. And you can also amplify it for a bit more damage. I'm just gonna set Sub-Zero to block. There we go. On block, plus 34, but I don't see you moving in time to really capitalize on it all too much. But it's still nice to have. And what's it like on Amplify? Misses entirely. So if they block it, it's pretty much a waste of a bar. It becomes more plus the further away you are. At closer ranges, yeah, it's not going to be very as effective, but still useful. And then we have an overhead that you can just call from the back. It is punishable, but at further ranges I don't see this being much of an issue, which is usually where you're going to want to use it. And tell Sub-Zero to let go of block. There we go. Because what makes this one so special is if you amplify it, the opponent is held in place. It costs you 2 bars, but you basically get a guaranteed combo. Sadly, you can't run this with the camera because it takes up because both slots are 2 slots. So I guess if you're running stunt double, nah, I'd still run the rising star over the fucking flippy kick. Flippy kick is just all around terrible. And last but not least, we have Pissed Off. So Johnny Cage actually got a command grab in this game. Down, back, forward, 1. It is kind of abysmal. Actually, it's not even treated as a throw, which is kind of unfortunate. However, this move, as of MK11 Ultimate, now breaks armor. And it's probably a better armor break than his damn flippy kick. Oh, right. It's back to receiving. That one basically misses, so let's move it to the corner. Just to prove that pissed off is better than flippy kick. 148 versus 186 on Amplify. So it deals a lot more damage. Like, even if you don't want to amplify it, you're still getting some pretty good damage. Sadly, you're going to need to dash up if you want to do that. Which is kind of a running theme to Johnny Cage. You pretty much need to micro dash to get most of your combo damage. It's not easy to get the hang of at first, but once you do, it's pretty easy. Most of the time. So that's 28% all because you decided to break away. Now let's go over a combo that most people will try to do, which would be ending it with 1-2-1. What does that look like? Doesn't reach in time. Though if you have them cornered, yeah, fully works a lot better in your favor. Never mind, it does reach. And you're getting 324 just because they decided they wanted to break away. I mean, hell, even if they don't want to try and break away, you're still getting, I believe you're still getting some pretty good damage. Sadly, I always struggled with down, back, forward inputs. Yeah, you're still getting some pretty good damage. I wouldn't say amplifying is worth it though, most of the time. But if it wins you the match, I'd say go for it. And that pretty much wraps up my combo guide for John. Actually, no. What the hell? It's not a combo guide. It's how to utilize the character. I really need to get myself a fucking script. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Tune back in next week where I reveal which character we're going to be doing next. Or whenever I feel like it. I don't know how to end these fucking videos.